Hello dear children, how are you? Hope all is well. As you know, we have already completed one unit, that is Swami's lesson and Grandma climbs a tree. Now we are moving on to study the second unit, and the first lesson in the second unit is There is a Girl by the Tracks, written by Deven Khanna. There is a girl by the track. Track refers to railway track. So this lesson is extracted from a real life incident which took place in Mumbai. Actually, a girl fell off from a moving train and she was helped by a stranger. A stranger helping a stranger. A girl who fell off a train was helped by a boy who was moving on another train. So let me draw your attention towards accident scenes which we see in our day-to-day life. When accidents take place on the track or on road, a large number of people gather. But presently, we see a different trend in the crowd. The thing is, though large number of people gather there, they don't mind, they don't go to the extent of helping the injured ones or the victims. More than that, they are more interested, more curious to know what has happened. They peep into the situation and they step back, they stay back. Or there are some people who take their cameras, they shoot videos, they take snaps, sometimes they take selfies also, and upload those things on social media in order to increase their popularity. So this is the present situation, and when the victims are suffering and when they need urgent medical aid, people hesitate to help them. If they are in the pool of blood, if their condition is very serious and very critical, people don't help them even though they are having vehicle, even though they are owning a vehicle on the spot itself. Why is that? The thing is, they hesitate to help because they do not want to, involve themselves in the court cases and police inquiry. They fear all these, legal procedures. That is why nobody helps them. Due to all these reasons, many people die. They lose their lives on accident spots due to not getting medical care immediately. That is the present scenario. Keeping all these things in mind, let us study today's lesson. There is a girl by the tracks. When you observe the title, you will find some punctuation marks. The one punctuation mark that you find is there is a girl. There is a girl. There is an apostrophe here where I is omitted. That means there is a girl by the tracks. That is one punctuation mark. Another punctuation mark is quotation marks or inverted commas you see. Usually we use double inverted commas when we write the words spoken by others. When we write the words, exact words spoken by someone. That means these words were spoken by someone in the lesson. We'll come to know later. Then one more punctuation mark is this. This is nothing but an exclamatory mark. This is an exclamatory sentence. What is an exclamation? Exclamation is a sentence or it is a mark which is used to describe our sudden feelings. Maybe surprised, maybe shocked or extreme sadness. Such feelings are expressed using exclamatory mark. So there is a girl by the tracks. So somebody's words are given as written. So let us go to the depth of the lesson and understand what it is. So you can see and understand in the picture the accident scene or situation. Nobody dared to go where this youngster did. Nobody dared, nobody had the courage to go where this youngster did. What this youngster did. He only had the courage to move forward and do something for that girl or that injured girl. What did he do? The story begins. As the Mumbai suburban electric train made its 22nd 6:32 p.m. halt at a station, commuters swarmed out and into its 12 packed coaches. It's a regular scene in and around India's most populated metropolis. So the author says that as the Mumbai suburban electric train, so electric train was moving in Mumbai, it made its 20-second halt. In every station, it was stopping for just 20 seconds, within which passengers have to move out if it is their station, and if any new passengers want to get in, they should get into the train. The time they have is 20 seconds only. At 6:32, exactly at 6:32, this train stopped at a station. PM refers to evening. Halt at a station. Commuters swarmed out and into. Commuters means those who go daily. You may call them passengers. Commuters swarmed out and into. Swarm refers to usually a group of bees, honey bees, is called a swarm. Why the word is used is because just to denote large number of people. They swarmed out, they came out and moved into. It's 12 packed coaches. How many coaches it had? 12 packed coaches refers to overcrowded. You know how the Mumbai trains are. It is a regular scene in and around India's most populated metropolis. It's a regular scene. It's a daily scene where in cities like metropolitan cities of our country, having just managed to squeeze herself into a ladies' compartment, 21-year-old call center executive Roma tried to settle into a corner near the door. Having just managed to squeeze herself, how do we walk if the area is crowded? For example, during Udupi Pariyam, there are large number of people. The Ratabidi or the car street is crowded. How do we walk? Do we walk normally as we walk every day? No, we squeeze ourselves in order to move ahead. So the train which she caught was packed with the people. She was unable to get in. So she squeezed herself and somehow managed to enter the train into ladies' compartment. She entered the ladies' compartment. Who is that? 21-year-old call center executive Roma. She was 21-year-old. Her name was Roma. She was a call center executive. She was working in a call center. I know all of you heard about call center. What is that? Suppose, for example, I am having a Sony TV and suddenly it breaks down. It does not work. It does not function. What should I do? They give me a toll-free number, which is workable 24/7. I have to dial that toll-free number. Somebody will speak on the other end, and I have to log in a complaint saying that I purchased some TV on this and this date at such and such place, and I will see that I will tell them the complaint. Upon telling so, they will record my complaint. After recording it, they will pass on my complaint and my contact number to the Sony TV company. Upon getting this information, the company will ring me up and finding a suitable day, they come to my house to repair the television. So when your electronic and electrical appliances do not work, we don't contact the company or the industry directly. But these companies have made a contract with the call centers. They don't speak to us directly. First we have to log in a complaint with the call center. They will receive our complaint and they will pass on to the respective companies, whichever the company is. So they act as a middlemen. They act as mediators between customers and the company. So this is call center. They work 24/7. Even at night, shift wise, they will work. So she was working in such a company as an executive. She tried to settle into a corner near the door. She was standing at the step. She tried to settle down. Why she had to settle near the door? Because it was fully crowded, fully packed. The train hurtled ahead. The train moved ahead. Roma, jammed between other women, was trying to find some space to stand safely on when she suddenly got pushed, lost her tenuous foothold and panicked. So Roma stepped into ladies' compartment. She was not able to stand there properly because it was crowded. She was not able to balance properly, and at the same time the train started moving. She was jammed between the women. She was somewhat sandwiched between the women, other women standing there, and was trying to find some space, some place to stand safely, comfortably on. When suddenly she got pushed, she was not pushed by anyone intentionally. It happens when there is a rush, a mad rush. She was pushed, lost her tenuous foothold, and lost her balance and panicked. She was extremely afraid, panicked, feared. Her hands reached for the steel railing above. Before she fell, she tried to wave her hand in order to catch the handle there. But steel railing above her, but finding only air, she waved her hand. She tried her best to catch something before she fell, and she could catch nothing. But the attempt was useless. Roma was thrown out of the coach. She was thrown out of the coach. She fell off the coach. She fell on the track. The clattering roar of the train muffed the thud of her fall on the ground more than a meter below. The clattering roar of the train, when the train moves faster, it makes a big sound. Even if you speak to others, you cannot hear. When the train moves, when the lessons are going on, you cannot hear what the teachers say. Same thing happens in our school also. So the roar of the train muffled the thud of her fall. When she fell, there was a thud, there was a sound, but that was not heard because the sound of the train was louder than that. It was unheard by others. She fell more than a meter below, the distance between the train and the ground, more than a meter below. She was knocked senseless. When she fell, she became senseless. She became unconscious. Standing near the door of another train, speeding in the opposite direction, 20-year-old Baleshwar Mishra could not believe what he had just seen. A young woman in a black salwar kameez lying next to the tracks. At the same time, standing near the door of another train, the train which was moving on the opposite direction. This was Roma train. On the opposite side, another train was moving in the opposite direction. In that direction also, a boy was sitting there, and he could not believe his eyes when he saw this. A 20-year-old Baleshwar Mishra couldn't believe what he had just seen. He saw a young woman in a black salwar kameez, what you call chudidar, lying next to the tracks. She had already fallen. She was near the tracks. Meanwhile, gasps and screams emanated from his compartment. There is a girl by the tracks, the voices cried out. Meanwhile, when all these things were happening, gasps and screams, people in his coach started screaming. They also saw Roma Talreja who had fallen there. Came from his compartment. All of them started crying. There is a girl by the tracks. A girl had fallen by the tracks. All the voices cried out. Impulsively, Baleshwar went and grabbed the train's red emergency chain and pulled it down frantically. Impulsively, without a second thought, without any thinking, without further thinking, Baleshwar went and pulled the train's red emergency chain. See, the word says red emergency chain. That chain is pulled only during emergency. What happens when the chain is pulled? It will not stop the train actually. It will glow the indicator in the driver's compartment, where he will come to know something has happened. Suddenly he will stop that moving train. So he pulled the chain and pulled it down frantically. With no hope. The train screeched. when you apply brake suddenly to a moving vehicle, a sound comes, vehicle or bicycle or bike. That sound is called a screeching sound. The train stopped. You cannot stop the train all of a sudden. It leads to accident. It will stop gradually, by and by. So it slowed down. He then surveyed the compartment full of weary faces. Baleshwar then surveyed, he looked at the faces of all his passengers, co-passengers in the compartment, full of weary faces, full of worried faces. They were worried. Let's go and help her, he shouted. Let's go, can't you see the girl who had fallen? Let's go and help her, the train is stopping. But nobody volunteered. No one came forward. There are dozens of people there who had seen that incident, but they were not ready to help. They did not come forward. Afraid of getting involved. They were afraid of, as I told you, getting involved. Involved in what? Shifting the victim and giving information to the police, going to the hospital, and for all these reasons, they did not bother to help her. Involved or of inconvenienced perhaps, or of being inconvenienced. They did not want to take up any trouble because they wanted to go to their offices and other places. They thought, why should I disturb myself? Why should I disturb my daily routine? Why should I disturb my daily time schedule? So let what happen, let whatever happen, I mind my business, they thought. His heart hammering his chest, Baleshwar showed himself to the door and jumped off the still moving train. His heart hammering his chest. What is heart hammering? Hammer is to beat. His heart started beating faster out of nervousness, fear. Baleshwar showed himself to the door. He pushed himself towards the door and jumped off the still moving train. The train was just slowing down and he jumped off the train. As he landed on the ground, a burst of pain shot up in his ankle. When he jumped off the train, he sensed a lot of pain in his ankle because the distance was 1 meter and he jumped from a moving train. So it caused him a lot of pain in his ankle. But there was no real damage. He was safe. He got up to find part of his old rubber slipper's sole torn off as a result of his fall. So when he got up, he found that his rubber slipper's sole. Which part of our footwear is called sole? The bottom part which touches the ground is called sole. And he was wearing a rubber slipper. What can you understand about the person who is wearing rubber slipper? What can you guess? Yes, that he was not so rich, he was not so well-to-do, he was a poor guy. But Baleshwar started to sprint back between the tracks as his train picked up speed again and disappeared. What did Baleshwar do? He got up. He found that his footwear was torn, but he started to sprint back. He started to run backwards where Roma had fallen, and his train picked up speed, moved ahead and disappeared. Baleshwar was so far away from Roma, he could not see her. I hope I am not too late, he thought, gasping for breath. Baleshwar was so far away from Roma. By that time the train had already moved far away from the spot where Roma had fallen, and he could not see her properly. I hope I am not too late. While running, he thought, he spoke to himself, hope I am not too late. Hope the girl is safe. The girl is out of danger. Nothing has happened to that girl. He thought, gasping for breath. Gasp for breath refers to breathe from your mouth. Usually when we run, when we walk faster, we don't breathe from our nose. We breathe little, very little from our nose. We open our mouth and breathe. That is called gasping. After running for several minutes, he found her sprawled by the side of the tracks. "Bahenji, aap theek hain?" he asked. Finally, after running for several minutes, he found her sprawled. Sprawl is to spread hands, she had fallen in this condition, sprawled condition. Benji, aap theek hain? He asked, sister, are you okay? See, he is addressing a stranger as Benji, so well cultured. But there was no response, no reply from the other side. No help inside. He looked around, there was no help inside. Because they were ahead, they were away from both the stations. This station and that station, they were in the middle of both the stations, so no help at all. They were alone somewhere between two stations, 5 kilometers apart in the Thane district which borders Mumbai. Where was the location? It was in the Thane district, which is in the borders of Mumbai, and they were far away from their stations. Station on the left side, station on the right side. They were somewhere in the middle of that, where they did not find any help. Baleshwar could see blood flowing out of a gash behind the young woman's head. Baleshwar found that the blood was oozing from a gash. Gash refers to a deep cut, and she was bleeding. She was, seriously injured. Saying a silent prayer, he prayed to God. He lifted the 5'2", 50 kilo Roma gingerly and made his way across the track, looking out for trains and searching for a way out. So finally he decided to help her. How to help her? He lifted her. She was 5'2" inches, 50 kilo. He lifted her gingerly, he lifted her nervously. He was also nervous because there was nobody, there was no help around him, so he was nervous and made his way across the tracks. He crossed all the tracks looking out for any trains and searching for a way out. He wanted to reach the roads where he could get any vehicle. So he was new to that place, a stranger to that place. So he was finding his way out. He crossed through some shrubbery and followed the direction of the sounds until he found the road. So he crossed the area of shrubs and bushes, and he lent his ears to the sound of the moving vehicles. He understood that there is a road or highway nearby, so he moved in that direction until he found the road. And upon finding the road, he was on the footpath. He was carrying this bleeding girl, this seriously injured girl. My sister is injured, he said. See, it was not his sister at all. But still he looked upon her as his own sister. He said, my sister is injured. Motorists who were driving by, a number of vehicles were passing by. He requested them, please help me take her to a hospital. But no one stopped. It happens commonly. Even when there is an accident, when people realize that the victim needs medical aid or help, they don't stop. That morning, on December 10th, 2010, a Friday, Roma Talreja arrived at the call center bright and early. So this is just next paragraph is just a brief background of Roma Talreja. What did she do on that morning, that day? On 10th December 2010, it was a Friday, she arrived at a call center bright and early. She was very punctual to her duties. She came very early as usual. She arrived opposite depart. Arrival opposite depart. Arrive is to come, depart is to go. The BCom graduate from Pune had been working there for 2 years, loving her job, talking and connecting to customers and making new friends there. She loved that job so much. She had been working there for 2 years. She enjoyed her job. She loved talking and connecting to the customers. She made new friends there, her colleagues, co-workers. After work, she went to the cafeteria where she and her friends joked, laughed and made plans for the weekend. After her work, she went to the cafeteria. Cafeteria refers to canteen or coffee day or something like that. Some eat out, what we call it. where she and her friends joked. They had a lot of fun, laughed, and made plans for the weekend. Every weekend they used to go somewhere and enjoy. Weekend refers to usually Saturday and Sunday. For call centers, so Saturday and Sunday it is off holiday. So every Friday in the evening, they would sit together and make plans for the weekend. Then, heading home after her shift, Roma was looking forward to having supper with her parents and brother and a long phone chat with her fiancé. And heading home, what is to head home? Going in the direction of her house. After her shift, Roma was looking forward to. What is to look forward to? Is to expect. I am looking forward to a letter from my uncle. Children look forward to holiday when it rains heavily. Expect. Having supper, last meal of the day, night, supper with her parents and brother, and a long phone chat and a long phone call or SMS chat with her fiancé, Vijay. Her fiancé refers to her would-be husband, the person who she is engaged to, her would-be husband. These were her plans. So I have completed the first 8 paragraph. Hope you have understood the lesson and understood all the paragraphs done by me. When you watch video, when you listen to my lessons, read the textbook also. Reading textbook is very important, and mark all the meanings that you are not able to know. Some meanings have been given at the footnote of the textbook. Some meanings I am telling you when I do the lessons. If you are not able, if you need more meanings, you can refer dictionary and for opposite words also. And if you do not understand, you can come to school and clarify your doubt. You have that provision also. But please call me, in advance and then come. And try to underline with a pencil all the dialogues which you come across. These dialogues are important from the point of view of extracts. For example, who said this, to whom was it said, when was it said. That is called extracts. You have 3 questions or 3 marks for that. Please do underline all the dialogues or important sentences when you read the textbook. So do not depend on reading notes book for all the subjects. I am referring to all the subjects including my subject. You must read textbook also. First you should read textbook, then notebook. So make it a habit to follow this pattern of study. So thank you very much. Take very good care of yourselves. See you some other time.